on to our guests so that I can get out of the way, and I'm going to be fascinated by this. Rick Kamel has brought successful innovation and periodic aggravation to the status quo. For the past 20 years in public relations and broadcast news, he's got an entrepreneurial spirit, successfully developed PR by the minute, a cost-effective public relations service offered in North America. In the past 5 years, Rick has averaged $2.2 million per year in earned media placements for his clients, and they have included General Motors, the Ford Motor Company, Kellogg, Coca-Cola, Fifth Third Bank, Accident Fund Insurance, the MSU College of Law, Wendy's, and he developed the nation's largest public relations program for 1,500 independent auto dealers. In fact, and he is here with us in our Gillespie Group storefront studio. Thank you for being available.
Well, thank you for having me, and good morning.
Appreciate it very much. I said this morning on the morning show that the profits for Domino's Pizza jumped 55%. 55% in the second quarter. The earnings per share up 57%. Their revenue up $22.6 million. They changed the recipe, ran a big ad campaign. They took a risk, didn't they?
Well, the ad campaign wasn't only a big ad campaign, it was a bit of a controversial ad campaign. They showed actual focus group information and then targeted those people who didn't like their pizzas. And if you read the trades as I do, there was some buzz about whether or not it was a comfortable way to go. And as it turned out, they have not only exceeded their expectations by a great deal, but they've changed the convenience food market on how they're going to, on how other companies are going to start to approach customer relations and talking one-to-one with their core customers.
And the commercial had somebody saying on a camera, I don't like it, it's kind of bland. And then the next phase of the commercial showed people from Domino's going to their house with the new recipe and saying, we listened to you, we changed it.
It was it turned out to be a very effective way to reach out to those customers. At the same time, there's two schools on this. One of them is, did you alienate the customers who didn't know Domino's was a not good tasting pizza and say, well, wait a minute, I didn't realize that. And that customer base that didn't go to Domino's. But as it turned out, the school that they chose was to reach out and talk to their core group and try to bring them back into the fold.
Now, it's probably not as easy for a giant corporation like Domino's to make a switch like that. The small business people that you're talking to here in this program might have a little bit of an easier time tweaking based on feedback they get from customers or something they hear from you today. That's fair to say, isn't it?
Somewhat, yes. Let's be clear on public relations versus advertising. Advertising is paid media. Public relations is basically earned media. I tell my clients, when they ask me what I do, I tell them I do the same thing Wonder Bra does. I'm in public relations. I don't change anything. I just reposition it so it looks better.
Great one.
And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And in my world, I try to look at everything from the view of a Rubik's Cube, from every possible angle. It's okay to position a particular idea or industry or thought or product in a way so that it relates to the consumer or to your target audience. And that's what I do. I work on positioning and presenting in a way that expresses my client's goals and vision.
A very cost-effective public relations service, prbytheminute.com, and Rick Kamel is with us for the next half an hour or so. Let's start with the next 6 minutes and our expert panel, Craig Godfrey, Scott Farragon, Bob Hedlund, and Cheryl Freeborough with questions for Rick Kamel, PR by the Minute.
Well, this is Craig Godfrey, Rick, and during the break here we were talking a little bit about this. What I've heard on the advertising side is that it's most effective right now to have more of an educational slant on your advertising or marketing. How do you react to that?
Well, on the public relations side, if you look at my theory that there's four positions to a story: villain, victim, rescuer, and expert. The villain obviously is the bad person or the bad situation. The victim is something that's happened to, but if most of my clients, I position them as either the expert or the rescuer. And a rescuer provides tips and guidance. The 5 tips to having a good company picnic, the 6 tips to making sure you put the proper equipment in your car for wintertime driving. And then the expert is providing analysis, which is what she did just a minute ago talking about the Volt. She provided some insight without too much judgment. She just said, this is what I think is going to happen, and here's why. So when I pitch stories to the media, and what I suggest to my clients and to people in general when I do my seminars, is if you provide the media with solid, journalistically accurate content that provides their viewers, readers, or listeners with good information, the media will listen to the pitch.
One thing that
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, as far as for small business, somebody with, say, under 20 employees, 10 employees, whatever, is it really, where's the line between advertising and PR? You know, as far as a small business needing a PR firm, everybody knows, okay, you put Yellow Pages or you do whatever advertising, but where, is there a line, or where is kind of the need, the line for that?
Well, if I heard your question correctly, it's a little bit hazy. The lines aren't as determined anymore. But the reality is that for a small business, public relations can be an effective tool to reach out to their core audience that they want to talk to. You're in the plumbing business. You could easily pitch one story a month on plumbing to half a dozen different media in your target area. The other thing about small business and a resource for them might be to look on the internet. The internet now gives you the ability to look up producers, editors, bloggers at any media outlet in the country, literally. So you can if you come up with a good story idea, you can pitch it to the national NPR station just by going onto their website and submitting an idea.
And that's where you would come in, so that
I
we
help
can focus
craft
on
that.
business, and you could, and a PR firm, that's where you come in on that.
So you would
that
help
area.
with the wording to try and
So
whoever's reading and evaluating what are the stories that they should at least investigate further. You would help with the wording of what goes into those firms where you want to get the PR to.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the pitch memo, the news release, making the media pitch calls to the producers or editors saying this is why I think this is important, following up with them, crafting the messages, working with the client on rehearsing how they're going to be when they're on the radio, using words that are impact words. For example, I've eliminated the term I think from my vocabulary. I now use I know, I feel, I believe. It has more credibility. You're all married, correct? Mm-hmm. On your anniversaries, go home and tell your spouse, honey, I think I love you. Okay? Versus, baby, I know I love you. I know I do. And my second wife, I used the word convinced. That didn't work. So finding those impact phrases, those words. For example, many times people will say, let me answer your question this way. Well, if you had your teenage son walking down the hall and you say, did you make your bed? And your son says, Dad, let me answer your question this way. How credible would that be? Another term is, let me be honest with you, or honestly speaking. Well, haven't you been? One of the three main mistakes or patterns that people make in their speech is you must know, you must understand, and you must remember. As the communicator, I would never order my audience to understand, remember anything. Perhaps you remember, or a thought that I want to bring up that you may have forgotten. So I ask a permission, but I never order my audience.
So you try and get rid of those passive words and whatnot and put more active words in. But, some of us, myself included, think that, to be included in news, there's got to be something bad that happens or something like that. But you're able to place, these articles, these items, and the producers eat them right up.
Well, maybe there's a difference. I've been on MSNBC and CNN and a couple things, and it's all been about the bad. They've come to me because they're looking for the sad story. Maybe the difference with you is that you're going to them and saying, we've got a good story to tell. They always come to us for the bad stories, but we're the ones that have to go to them for the good stories. Is that the vision I'm seeing?
We're almost there. Let's separate the word good story to a story that has realism and that has value. So it's not I'm presenting a good story to the media. I'm presenting a story that brings value to the media. Because if I can bring the media value for their audience, then I'll get invited back for other story ideas.
We'll continue with more questions and answers in 4 minutes.